potato.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Kendall Gilding.
Good afternoon. Our top stories this Friday. Border watch. Queensland authorities tighten travel restrictions as large parts of Sydney are ordered to stay at home. The federal government offers to pay for a COVID quarantine facility near Brisbane Airport. Clive Palmer ordered to pay back more than $100 million he borrowed from Queensland Nickel before it collapsed. And a frantic rescue effort in Florida. Emergency responders search for dozens missing after a Miami apartment block pancakes. Good afternoon. Queensland border restrictions have tightened as new COVID cases send large parts of Sydney into a week-long lockdown. Police are randomly stopping cars at the border, and from next week, vehicle border passes will be back. State political editor Marlena Watt has the latest.
Well, as Sydney's COVID outbreak grows, there'll be tighter security measures at the border, with the government announcing border passes will be required for anyone travelling from northern New South Wales. Police have been stopping vehicles with southern plates, with extra traffic expected over the school holidays. From 1 a.m. on Monday, it'll be mandatory to have a travel declaration pass displayed while crossing into Queensland from places like Byron Bay.
We are continuing to see cases in New South Wales, so it is really important that we could have any case in Queensland any day.
If we do start seeing any transmission with people from Sydney potentially holidaying in Byron Bay or other areas of the north coast of New South Wales, then we will be able to let them know.
It comes as 22 new cases are linked to Sydney's Bondi Junction cluster, sending 4 local government areas into lockdown, including the city of Sydney, Woollahra, Waverley and Randwick.
You need to stay at home unless absolutely necessary.
Since yesterday, police have turned around almost 190 passengers at the airport, sending them back to Sydney. 128 travellers returning to Queensland have ended up in hotel quarantine. But visitors from Greater Melbourne are once again free to travel to Queensland. The cluster in Brisbane linked to a flight attendant from Portugal has grown to 7 after 2 new local infections. But the Chief Health Officer says those 2 people don't pose a risk to the community, given they were already in quarantine when they tested positive.
Meantime, COVID restrictions across Queensland have eased, much to the relief of the music and hospitality industry. Now retailers are facing a new challenge: how to police QR codes. Georgie Chumley has more.
It's meant to be in play from today, but businesses across Queensland are still confused as to whether they should be using the Check in Queensland app. Updated guidelines were released today revealing you don't need to check into a business if you're buying takeaway food from a cafe or restaurant. But if you go into a bakery, butcher, grocer or any retail store, you do have to check in. That includes stores like clothing boutiques, hardware stores and newsagents.
Just general chit-chat around here. No one seems to know who's supposed to have the codes and who's not.
Plus shopping centres and supermarkets. For the first few days while customers get used to the changes, Coles will have dedicated greeters to help shoppers check in or manually record their details.
To help customers learn how to use the app, be familiar with it and just familiarise themselves with the new process.
At Woolworths in Collingwood Park, shoppers and staff were unaware the rules had changed. Did you know that you have to check in when you go into a supermarket now?
No. I honestly just had no idea, so it's something they haven't advertised really well.
People without smartphones aren't happy about the changes, which means they'll have to write down their details almost everywhere they go.
Dreadful. Discrimination.
I'm a technophobic.
Customers and businesses have a 2-week grace period to get used to the changes before they're policed. Those found to be doing the wrong thing face a $13,000 fine. It's coincided with the relaxing of restrictions, with no limits on outdoor gatherings or gatherings in homes, as well as an increase in capacity for indoor venues.
A purpose-built quarantine facility is being proposed for Queensland, this time by the federal government. The Premier received a surprise offer of finance overnight for a site near Brisbane's International Airport. Michelle Jensen reports.
This defence base at Pinkenba is the Prime Minister's preferred site for a Queensland quarantine facility. The Damascus barracks are on 30 hectares of federally owned land right next to the airport and 8 kilometres from the CBD. It's primarily used for storage, but it could have 1,000 beds for return travellers by next year if the state and federal governments can agree on the proposal. Amidst continued hotel quarantine breaches, the past 5 months has seen bitter debate around the proposed well camp quarantine facility at Toowoomba. And the Deputy Premier still isn't letting go of that option, even after receiving the PM's letter last night suggesting a new site.
We could go ahead now, but instead the Prime Minister wants us to start from scratch with this other proposal.
Well camp is dead and buried. Move on.
The Pinkenba base is currently used for storing fuel. The state government says it was led to believe it wasn't suitable because of contamination and asbestos in buildings.
The Commonwealth then told us that they'd assessed all of the defence sites and ruled them all out. And so I'm not sure what's changed here.
Both plans are for facilities with 1,000 beds, but with 3,500 people currently in hotel quarantine in Queensland. Neither project would cater for all returned travellers. The state government had been looking at a regional hub, not an urban one, and that could lead to concerns over proximity to homes and businesses. I'll have more on that in the news at 6.
The accused killer of Gold Coast mother Kelly Wilkinson has been released from hospital and transferred to jail. Brian Johnston, who allegedly set fire to his wife in her backyard, suffered severe burns and spent weeks in a coma. The 34-year-old former US Marine is now recovering at Wollston Correctional Centre's medical unit and is yet to face court. It comes as an internal police review following Kelly's death recommended officers always switch on body-worn cameras when dealing with cases of domestic violence, as well as further training on bail issues. The Whiskey A Go-Go inquest has heard from 2 witnesses whose friend and brother had been told not to go to the club the night it was firebombed. The evidence coming as the families of more victims shared photos of loved ones. Rosanna Kingson has more.
48 years may have passed, but the pain of losing loved ones in the 1973 Whiskey A Go-Go firebombing is still raw for dozens of Brisbane families. David Western was 19, Wendy Drew 24. The youngest of 15 victims was 17-year-old Jennifer Davey, and it was her murder that secured the convictions of James Finch and John Stewart in the months that followed the attack. But it's always been thought more were involved. Today the inquest heard from Martin Turpin. His friend Greg Doolan, a singer with the band Wickety Whack, told him he had planned to go to the club that night.
He stopped on the footpath when the car carrying John Bell pulled up and said, "Greg, whatever you do, don't go in there tonight." Greg was very, very shocked the next day to learn what had happened.
A similar warning was given to whiskey barman Peter Morcus by his brother Alphonse, who was a bouncer at the club. Their younger brother Willem says Peter went to work that night and never came home, and Alphonse blamed himself. The evidence wrapped up the first 2 weeks of the inquest, with weeks 3 and 4 yet to be scheduled. The coroner told Today more possible witnesses have come forward since the inquest began.
Billionaire businessman Clive Palmer has suffered a major defeat in his legal battle with the liquidator appointed to Queensland Nickel. The Court of Appeal has ordered him to pay back more than $100 million that Queensland Nickel lent to another one of his companies, Mineralogy. Palmer personally authorised the loan not long before Queensland Nickel collapsed in 2016. The QNI liquidator initially lost a bid to have the money repaid with interest, but appealed and has now won. 800 people in Townsville lost their jobs when the company went under. A major search and rescue effort is underway with 1 person dead and 99 missing in a Florida apartment collapse. US correspondent Tim Lester is in Miami, where there are fears Australians may be among those missing.
1:30 a.m. in Miami, when this 12-storey surfside complex crumbles, crashing to the ground. More than 50 apartments buried, sleeping residents still inside.
I don't even want to think about it. We did hear screams, but I couldn't tell where they were coming from the rubble, from the apartments. People were on their balconies, waving flashlights, yelling.
We, basically our unit, the whole other side of the building collapsed. We don't even have the unit anymore. It doesn't exist anymore.
In the rubble, a moment of hope. A boy pulled out alive.
I saw an arm sticking out of the wreckage, and he was screaming, "Can you see me?" And whatnot. So we started to kind of climb up to him, to try and see if we could get him free.
Beneath the building, firefighters gain access through the car park, putting their lives on the line in the hunt for 99 people unaccounted for. Tonight, authorities have confirmed just the one death, but it's feared that number will dramatically rise. The search, they say, could take days.
We are bracing for some bad news, just given the destruction that we're seeing.
Apparently, when the building came down, it pancaked, so there's just not a lot of voids that they're finding or seeing from the outside, which again that's a tragedy.
Built 40 years ago, the complex's structural integrity had been under examination when it spectacularly failed.
This is a catastrophic failure of that building, and we need to try to understand what happened.
In Miami, Florida, Tim Lester, 7 News.
And we'll bring you more on that developing story live from Miami later in the bulletin. Well, let's get a check of today's weather now. And Bertie, today's cloud a bit different to the sunny skies we've been used to.
Oh, look, and get used to that cloud there too, Kendall, because it's going to return tonight, some showers. And from that trough moving in from the west, tomorrow's a very wet start to the weekend, but some sun on Sunday, sunny Sunday. Beach tennis behind us here at Surfers Paradise. Surfers on the beach. I'll tell you what, it's not a bad end of the working week. Have a look at the temperatures today, or the beaches to start with. Obviously, it was pretty good. A lot of calmness out on the ocean due to that westerly wind. Tomorrow, you will wake up to some west-northwest, but there's going to be a vigorous southerly change at around 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's going to last for about 6 days, and with that, we're going to see the return of showers into Monday through to about Thursday. So enjoy Sunday. Water temp, by the way, is about 20 degrees. And the temperatures today, it hovered around that sort of 20, 21 coastal regions, 20 in the city, down to 17 overnight, and similar for Ipswich, got down to about 14, 15. So not much movement there, Kendall, in the temperatures due to that cloud cover, but rain is on the way. How much we'll have shortly.
See you then. Thank you, Bertie. Still to come on the afternoon news, bedside reunion. A son is reunited with his dying father after Queensland lets him leave hotel quarantine early. Emergency services scale back the search for a Norwegian man who went missing while spearfishing in Moreton Bay. And the hospital patients who are living proof that music is good for the soul.
Tonight on 7 News, more COVID cases here. Sydney's outbreak explodes. What now for the border and school holidays? Details finally released on where you have to check in with the COVID app from today. Reunited, the Killians finally get to see their sick father. And new holiday deals to fill cancellations. 7 News at 6.
Come on a food journey to find the dishes that'll warm you from the inside out. Decadent combinations.
The apple and pork classic. Yeah, the marriage.
Flavour explosions.
A modern take on one of my favourite classic dishes.
And a burger that'll make you say, Yum! New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
Anaconda's end of financial year sale is on now. Selected sports footwear by Adidas, Asics and Nike, only $59. 30% off all outdoor clothing by Adidas and Helly Hansen. Head in store or shop online at anacondastores.com.
Anaconda! Safe beaches, sunshine, no worries. Queensland's Fraser Coast. Immerse in nature, the world's largest sand island. Sail the Great Sandy Strait. Family fun adventures. Remote wilderness and the world's first whale heritage site. 40 minutes from the southern Great Barrier Reef. Rich in food and heritage, the Fraser Coast is good to go.
I think they're about to make contact.
We should blow them out of the sky right now.
But they could hold the key to our future.
Sir, they're sending a message.
Outside, and the field is set to run. They are ready.
Sorry, everyone. We're still alive in the quaddie.
Incredible.
It's arrived. Sportsbet's new Bet With Mates. Start your group, bet together and share in the moment. Bet With Mates. New from Sportsbet.
Total Tools won't be beaten this end of financial year. Check out all of our end of financial year deals, including free battery skins and accessories via redemption. Plus, it's your last chance to write off up to 150k in assets instantly. Total Tools. Low prices on every tool for every trade. Guaranteed.
We've turned Mondays into something to make a song and dance about.
With Meerkat Mondays! Now you can win prizes every week with Compare the Market. So please download the app. Singles app.
Tonight, I'll be eating extra hot flame-grilled chicken with peri-peri chips from Nando's. We now cross live to Ray Martin.
Tonight, I'll be eating butter chicken with a cheese and garlic naan from Miss India.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Let's play for your gold logie.
Let's not.
Now at Domain, save up to 55% off Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. That's up to 55% off our great Australian-made brands. Plus bonus gift card up to $1,000 when you buy on 60 months interest-free. Now at Domain.
If you're struggling to balance work, life and family, you need to shake it up. Ensure Health Shakes help you get the nutrition you need to help your body build strength from within, with a prebiotic and antioxidants to support a healthy immune system, calcium and protein for muscle and bone health. Put more balance in your work-life balance. Shake it up with Ensure.
With 0% sulfates, silicons and parabens, Treseme's new Pro Pure collection lets you style without compromise. Tresemme Pro Pure, 0% compromise, 100% you.
Think you know the Gold Coast? Think again.
They're going to get all the sand off the beach.
Gold Coast Uncovered, taking you back in time in high definition for the first time. A special Queensland television event. Saturday night at 7 on 7. 7 News, covering the Gold Coast for 62 years.
A dying Queensland father is being reunited with his son and daughter-in-law this afternoon after a quarantine stoush involving 3 governments. Reporter Katrina Blowers joins us now. Katrina, this is a case that has really tested the country's strict quarantine requirements.
It sure has, Kendall, and with so much public support for the Killian family, it's really put the spotlight on the different approaches to quarantine of each state. We got these shots earlier today of 80-year-old Franz Killian being moved to the Gold Coast University Hospital, where that longed-for reunion is taking place. Mark Killian and his wife Annalie flew to Australia from LA 10 days ago to see Mark's cancer-stricken father. They were granted exemptions from quarantine on compassionate grounds from both the New South Wales and the federal government, but denied entry to Queensland. Eventually, late on Wednesday, the couple was told they would be able to leave Sydney, and they shared these videos with 7 News.
We're dressed in our masks and PPE gear, and we are ready to get out of here.
They were escorted by police to a waiting plane arriving in Queensland late yesterday. Mark Killian has told me they were meeting with Hans this afternoon and they have strict COVID safety guidelines to adhere to. Mark also said he's spoken to his father on the phone and he said he'd been holding on for the couple to get here and his spirits were really high.
Well, we wish them all the best this afternoon. No doubt a very special time ahead for the family. Thank you, Katrina. The second victim involved in Wednesday's horror plane crash in the Glasshouse Mountains has been identified. Sunshine Coast father of 3, Adam Heath, is being remembered as a loving dad and a keen pilot. Friends say he and his family had only recently moved from Victoria. The 46-year-old was killed alongside 30-year-old instructor Rory Blanning when their single-engine Cessna crashed in bushland near Peachester. The search for missing freediver Diedrich Hurrum is to be scaled back after a 3rd day of scouring Moreton Bay without success. Police and rescue teams battled difficult conditions off North Stradbroke Island today. 8 divers and 2 vessels were used, while 2 choppers and 1 rescue plane assisted from above. Island patrols are also being conducted. The power of music is being used to lift the spirits of Gold Coast hospital patients. A new foot-tapping therapy program has been rolled out to bring life back to the wards.
They say music can heal. At Robina and the Gold Coast University Hospitals, Evan is doing just that. He's the brainchild of a new music therapy program. The idea sparked during COVID.
The extra time I had on my hands, I would try and do something I love and help people as well.
Evan performs to patients in the rehabilitation, mental health and palliative care wards. It even adds an extra spring to their step, especially those in rehab who, thanks to the music, are excelling.
You keep thinking that you never
We're trying to bring in the musicians, make the place a bit more lively, less clinical, and really work alongside people using things that they enjoy.
Glenda suffered a stroke 4 weeks ago.
It makes you happy, that gets the endorphins going because you're smiling.
She's progressed so much she's been released from hospital this week.
Takes your mind off what's wrong with you and you look at things in a different light.
It improves people's lives and mental health and stuff while they're going through something tough.
Healing humans, one song at a time. Amelia Radham, 7 News.
Coming up, Prince Harry claimed he'd been cut off financially, but Prince Charles's official receipts tell a very different story. Thais take to the streets to demand their powerful monarchy is made more accountable. And consider yourself warned. Police promise a crackdown on dangerous driving ahead of the holiday road rush.
They're going to get all the sand off the beach.
Gold Coast Uncovered, taking you back in time in high definition for the first time, Saturday night at 7 on 7.
Don't tell Grandad, but he was right. I've overcooked these steaks.
I'm always right, son. I thought you'd know that by now.
Dad, how on earth did you hear that?
Have you heard of Amplifon?
At Amplifon, the hearing care professionals experience our latest technology hearing aids with a free trial, including the new Ampli Mini. So small it's almost invisible. Call 13MyEars to book an appointment and experience a free trial in the comfort of your own home. That's 13 69 32 77. Amplifon, the hearing care professionals.
All ready to go.
Coles Car Insurance is full of nice surprises, like a lifetime guarantee on authorised repairs, so you can get back to what really counts. Coles, value the Australian way.
Autobarn has 25% off store-wide this Friday and Saturday. Whether it's top gear for inside your car, under the hood or out in the garage, you'll get low prices and save 25% off this Friday and Saturday. Autobarn.
Top gear, low prices.
When something goes wrong and you're injured on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
Pork! Pork!
When you reach for pork roast, who knows where you'll end up? Get some pork on your fork.
New Naturally Good Anti-Age with 99% naturally derived ingredients, plus 1% for stability and safety, with organic burdock extract. Visibly reduces wrinkles in 2 weeks. 100% transparency for 100% trust.
This one's for all those out there growing a mullet, but are currently at that weird reverse fringe stage. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Max. No sugar, no compromise.
Now at Domain, get up to 40% off discontinued and ex-display outdoor furniture. That's up to 40% off clearance outdoor lounges, dining and more. Plus bonus gift card up to $1,000 when you buy on 60 months interest free. Now at Domain.
You remember I'm picking Bex up from school, right?
The JCR's due Friday, so which font should we use?
Are you going to video chat this weekend? Your dad and I'd love to see the kid.
He's in.
So can we go outside? We could go to this place after.
That's all right.
Former TV presenter Andrew O'Keefe has had domestic violence charges against him dismissed under the Mental Health Act. A Sydney magistrate found the 49-year-old was having a bipolar episode when it was claimed he assaulted his ex-partner in January. Outside court, Mr O'Keefe said he would now be spending time looking after his own health. A war of words has broken out again between Prince Harry and the royal family. The Duke of Sussex told Oprah in March he was financially abandoned by Prince Charles, but Clarence House is attempting to correct the record. Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfeld explains.
It's a clarification more than anything from the royal households, revealed as part of the annual release of palace finances. Clarence House, which runs Prince Charles's office, says yes, Harry was cut off, but it wasn't until the middle of the year, they say the English summer, and he was given what's described as an additional substantial sum of money, thought to be in the millions, by his father, keeping in mind Harry was 35 years old at the time and had chosen to step away from royal life in March of that year. Harry told Oprah, of course, that it was the first quarter of 2020 when he was cut off. Now, in light of the revelations from Clarence House, a spokesperson for the Sussexes says he was referring to the first quarter of the UK financial year, which begins in April. It's the sort of semantics that doesn't play very well here in Britain. One royal biographer saying today it's the latest half-truth to come out of California.
It's possible they could both be right. Harry was cut off at some point, but then it was also pointed out to us by Prince Charles's office that Harry and Meghan themselves said they wanted to be financially independent and they didn't want to be reliant on Harry's father for money. So you wonder why he then told Oprah that he was cut off.
Harry is due here in London next week for the unveiling of a statue of his mother Diana on what would have been her 60th birthday. He's expected to do that alongside his brother William. But early next week, the Duke of Cambridge will in fact be in Edinburgh alongside the Queen, carrying out a series of royal engagements. It'll be a sharp contrast between those royal duties being carried out by Prince William and the drama that continues to surround his brother.
17 Kenyan soldiers have been killed after their helicopter crashed during a military training exercise outside the capital, Nairobi. One witness said the aircraft made a strange noise before turning suddenly and hitting the ground. 23 people were on board at the time. Hundreds of protesters have gathered near Bangkok's Democracy Monument, demanding Thailand's Prime Minister step down. Demonstrators want the country's constitution amended to make it more democratic and the monarchy reformed to make it more accountable. Police have launched Operation Cold Snap to keep motorists safe these school holidays. Stepped-up patrols will saturate major highways and roads across Queensland. They'll be targeting speeding, dangerous driving, drivers on their phones and those not wearing seatbelts.
What we continue to see in Queensland is an average of 31 people a year killed and 166 people a year seriously injured just because they won't put their seatbelt on.
The statewide operation will run from today until July 16. If you are on the Gold Coast, thanks so much for your company this Friday afternoon. You're off to the chase and Steve Titmus will have your local 7 Gold Coast news at 5:30. For the rest of Queensland, Gangland execution. Police released details about how Gold Coast bikie Shane Bowden was stalked before his Gangland execution. Under mounting pressure, the federal government moves forward with plans for tailor-made quarantine facilities. And the campaign urging over 50s to drink in moderation. We'll catch up with the boss of Drinkwise Australia.
Tonight on 7 News, more COVID cases here. Sydney's outbreak explodes. What now for the border and school holidays? Details finally released on where you have to check in with the COVID app from today. Reunited, the Killians finally get to see their sick father. And new holiday deals to fill cancellations. 7 News at 6.
This is it. The epic grand final week.
This is what we've all been working towards.
Only 3 of you will make it to my live grand final.
Get ready to take control.
Australia, it's over to you. Their fate is in your hands.
Who wins? You decide.
Grand final week, Monday, 7:30 on 7.
What is the ultimate safety test? This is the big one.
So is this the ultimate safety test? It depends whether you...
Volvo.
At Terry White Chemmart, we're here to help this winter. That's why pharmacists like Bridget are trained to administer flu vaccinations right here in store. Book now. Walk-ins also available. Terry White Chemmart. Now that's real chemistry.
How's your mum getting on?
She feels so much happier now she has the help that she needs. And it's such a relief we can just pick up the phone and discuss her care.
That sounds like a great home.
Yeah, she's been there for 40 years.
Community Home Care. Live the life you love in the home you've always loved.
Deli, there's always something new to discover. Feed your curiosity.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed's Stock Take sale. That's up to 50% off everything in store. Plus, get an extra 10% off this end of financial year weekend. Bedshed, no one's better in the bedroom.
Gnocchis, raviolis, and smokies. Curry, fried turkey, casturi, chimichurri, berry, McFlurry, half-stack taco pack, lobster mac, and them baby backs. Or your local favorites, delivered DoorDash, every flavor welcome.
More Queenslanders trust RACQ to insure their car when it matters most. With access to local claims support, plus our network of local repairers, choose RACQ car insurance because membership makes all the difference.
The Ekka is back, bigger, better than ever from August 7 to 15.
To celebrate, 7 News is giving you the chance to win the first tickets in town.
Watch 7 News this week for the code word to enter.
You could score yourself a family pass to experience all the fun of the Ekka this August.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Kendall Gilding.
Welcome back. Checking our top stories this Friday. Queensland is tightening border restrictions with cars coming into Queensland from northern New South Wales needing to show a border pass from next week. It comes as hundreds of thousands in Sydney are now subject to stay-at-home orders as COVID cases spread. The Whiskey A Go-Go inquest has heard from 2 witnesses whose friend and brother had been told not to go to the club the night it was firebombed. 15 people died in the arson attack. And Clive Palmer has suffered a defeat at the hands of the liquidators appointed to Queensland Nickel. The Court of Appeal has ordered he has to pay back $103 million his company Mineralogy borrowed from QNI just before it collapsed. Returning to one of our top stories this afternoon, rescuers are sifting through rubble looking for survivors of a building collapse in Miami. Tim Lester joins us live. Tim, what's the latest?
Morning, Kendall. Well, it's 2:30 here in the morning in Florida, in Miami, meaning that it's now just on 25 hours since the building beyond the police lines behind me partially collapsed, taking 55 apartments with it into rubble that's now being extensively searched and has been in the hours since. In fact, searchers have told media they will be searching here all night, trying to find any people who've managed to survive the collapse of the building and may be caught in pockets underneath the rubble, including, according to one man here who we've spoken with, an Australian, may include 2 Australians, an elderly couple he says have been resident in the building and have not been contactable in the hours since the collapse. So they among the 99 for whom there are grave fears. This in a state that has more hurricanes than any other US state, so you'd think the building standards for high-rise buildings in Miami would need to be pretty good. Inexplicable that this one should have collapsed. Some believe that it may be to do with the fact that it has proximity to the beach. It's essentially on the beach here. Others say it's been sinking for some time. In fact, more likely the answer to that won't be known for a long time. The search continuing, but the fact that 99 people remain missing is indeed an ominous sign. Kendall?
Tim, those pictures are just devastating. Thank you for bringing us the latest. The number of Australians able to return home from overseas could be significantly increased, with potential sites for purpose-built quarantine facilities now identified in Queensland and also Western Australia. The development comes as the location for a new quarantine centre in Victoria has been confirmed. Rob Scott reports.
The Prime Minister wrote to Victoria's acting Premier James Merlino last night, telling him the federal government has chosen a site in Melbourne's north at Mickleham. The facility will be built on Commonwealth-owned land next to an existing pet quarantine station. It's expected to open by the end of the year, initially with a 500-bed capacity, but eventually ramping up to 1,000 beds. And despite rejecting Queensland's proposal for a standalone facility at Wellcamp Airport near Toowoomba, the federal government now says it would be happy to consider one at the Damascus Army Barracks, not far from Brisbane Airport.
We have on the table a very detailed, highly costed proposal that could be built now. We could go ahead now, but instead the Prime Minister wants us to start from scratch.
The Queensland Deputy Premier's well experienced at cheap shots and shallow politics. Our response to Queensland is to have identified a site that is close to Brisbane Airport, close to Brisbane hospitals, that can be developed, and we invite them to come to the table for a feasibility study on that.
Two areas have also been identified in Western Australia, at Jandakot and Perth airports. Premier Mark McGowan is pleased, but says it would be quicker to use existing facilities, such as Christmas Island.
It would be possible to have something up and running by the end of the year if we used an existing facility, but the Commonwealth doesn't want those.
The Australian Medical Association says today's developments are positive, but it wants to see dedicated quarantine hubs set up in every state and territory.
Police say the killing of notorious Gold Coast bikie Shane Bowden played out like a Hollywood movie. They've released CCTV footage showing people connected to rival gang the Mongols following Bowden's every move.
One of these people is seen to be would appear to be climbing underneath Mr Bowden's car, and it's our belief that they fitted a tracker to that vehicle to enable him to be monitored, which led to his murder.
Detectives are also hoping to identify the owners of two vehicles seen circling the Pimpamar complex where Bowden lived just 2 weeks before he was shot 21 times in his driveway. Well, when we think of people drinking too much, it's usually young people we think of first. But figures show well in excess of 1 million over 50s in Australia are drinking at risky levels. And it's why the not-for-profit group Drinkwise has joined forces with Bowls Australia to promote moderation. And Drinkwise CEO Simon Strawn joins me now. Welcome, Simon. When we talk about these risky levels, how much alcohol are we talking about?
We do know through both Drinkwise and government research that, on the whole, Australians are drinking more in moderation than ever before. But some groups within the country, particularly amongst the over 50s, are still drinking at risky levels. And when we talk about risk, the government guidelines recommend that no more than 10 standard drinks during any 1 week and no more than 4 standard drinks on any one day.
How hard is it to break a habit in this age group of over 50 where it could be something they've developed over a lifetime?
We've seen consumers' taste change, particularly in the last few years, and consumer demand has really driven the increase in zero, low and mid-alcohol products. And we have seen that change actually really encourage and help people moderate their actual consumption behaviour. But recent Drinkwise research has indicated that 72% of the over 50 age group haven't tried those new low alcohol strength products to try to moderate their behaviours.
Now, you've teamed up with Bowls Australia to sponsor the National Open Finals on the Gold Coast. What was the thinking behind that?
Over 2/3 of Bowls participants are over the age of 60, and it is an audience that we do want to encourage to moderate their behaviour. So Drinkwise and Bowls Australia have partnered up. We'll be having Drinkwise messaging, moderation messaging within all the bowls clubs around the country to really encourage them to make sure that they're not only drinking responsibly, but they're thinking about the types of low alcohol products that they can consume to help moderate their behaviour.
It's such a great idea, and also just a good reminder for all of us as we head into a weekend. Simon, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's check Friday finance now with Stephen Daglian at CommSec. Steve, a solid end to a choppy week for Aussie investors.
Good afternoon, Kendall. Exactly right. Look, the Aussie market up about 0.5% today. That was enough to actually put an end to a 2-day losing streak for our share market, and maybe under the circumstances of the COVID situation worsening in Sydney, it wasn't a bad outcome. Even travel stocks like Qantas managed to lift today, up about 2%, but it certainly did drop over the course of the week. Unfortunately, though, over the week, the market still fell by about 0.75%, and this means the longest weekly winning streak of the year, 5 straight weeks, has unfortunately come to an end. The good news, though, is we've only got 3 trading days left now in June, and at the moment, this still seems set to be the best, or one of the best financial years that we've ever had on the Aussie market as well. Today, we had healthcare stocks underperforming a bit. The major banks, though, did quite well, with Westpac paying out a dividend, and A2 Milk rose for a 4th straight week for the very first time in 2 years. The Aussie dollar finally at around 75.9 US.
Steve, hard to believe we've been in the middle of a global pandemic with results like that. Thanks so much.
Exactly. Cheers.
Well, Pat Welsh joins me next with a look at the day's sport. Also, a competitor in the Fink Desert Race wakes from a coma to be told he may never walk again. And are we seeing Corona 2.0? Researchers convinced we've been ravaged before by a pandemic very similar to COVID-19.
A Saturday night red alert game.
McDonald tipping Woody.
The rampaging Bombers are up for a big scalp.
Building some very nice momentum.
Can they knock off the ladder-leading Demons?
These two teams electric at the moment.
But tonight, are the reigning champs about to crack?
Got to get going. I've got to be bold.
Richmond take on St Kilda. Friday night footy. Tonight on 7 Mate.
Advanced Genifique with 7 pre- and probiotic fractions. Activate your skin's strength. The microbiome. Skin recovers faster, is stronger, and visibly younger. Our #1 serum. Shop online now at Lancôme.
Ice break. Bring it on!
When something goes wrong and you're injured at work or on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
I can't afford to be off work.
Shine Lawyers. Let's right wrong. While we're chasing the bigger moments, we can forget the smaller ones, the in-between ones. They're made up of millions of smiles, thousands of tears, and times of pure joy. Take care of the big moments so you can make the most of the in-between ones. Australian Unity, the member-owned wellbeing company that's been here for over 180 years.
Anaconda's end of financial year sale is on now. Austral Dual Zone 80-litre fridge freezer and bonus cover, only $699. All bikes and accessories by Fluid, half price. Head in store or shop online at anacondastores.com. Anaconda!
At Amart Furniture, it's the final week of our end of financial year sale. Save up to 50% off a huge range of furniture in store and online. Better hurry, it's not around forever. Amart Furniture, final week.
130,000 customers over 25 years, son.
You'll be lucky you got a Titan.
I needed a big industrial size shed. Family needs to pull apart cars. We like playing with cars, so we need a big industrial shed to do it. Couldn't be happier. We're going to do it up, make it look nice and pretty, you know, turn it into a bit of a classic. I chose Titan because it's a good Australian company. It's all manufactured in Australia, great quality.
Call 1327 36 for the Titan Display Centre near you.
Thanks, Titan.
RACQ Roadside Assistance is trusted for more rescues. Like today, when Toby replaced 4 batteries, changed 2 tyres and saved 6 princesses. For your happily ever after, trust RACQ Roadside. Sign up or upgrade today.
Nothing will stand in Liam Neeson's way to take back his life.
Who the hell are you?
Unknown, tonight on 7.
2 weeks after the deadly Fink Desert Race, several injured competitors are still recovering in the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Among them, Jamie Harrison, who's been told he may never walk again. The 51-year-old remembers cartwheeling after hitting a rock at 120 k's.
The scary part after that was just lying in the dust and hearing other bikes coming through the dust, not knowing if they were going to hit me. That was the scariest part for me. Yeah, really scary, because, you know, if someone else hits you at speed, you're gone.
Jamie has vowed to find a way to race again. We wish him all the best with that recovery. Pat, what else is happening in the day's sport?
There's plenty. Hello, everyone. The Blues have touched down in Brisbane, but without key staff, including their doctor and physio, who were kept at home because they reside in one of Sydney's hotspots. 7 News understands the NRL's considering a game day bubble for players on Sunday night. It's smooth sailing, though, for the Queenslanders, who welcomed the Blues' constant criticism of rookie Reece Walsh.
It's all part of the theatre of origin, right? The whole media game, people getting attacked, players getting attacked. You know, I'm sure we're doing it to them.
The teams will hold their final training sessions tomorrow at Suncorp. The Lions have roared into outright premiership favouritism after smashing Geelong off the Gabba last night. The bruising 44-point hammering in front of almost 30,000 was set up by Brisbane's midfield. In the Cats' face all night, they shut down the visitors' attack and set up their own. Danaher booted 4, Cameron 3, downing last year's grand finalist for just the second time in 8 years.
I think it's a long time since we've been beaten that badly.
I think it was important for us to try and start to win against those other top 4 sides. I mean, we haven't been able to do that at all this season yet.
Fagan said Lachie Neale didn't pop his shoulder, just jarred it, and expects him to be fit for Adelaide after playing out the game. Alex de Minaur is a step closer to his first tennis title on grass. The second seed defeated Canadian Vasek Pospisil in straight sets to set up a semi-final clash with Kwon Sun Woo in Eastbourne.
I love playing here. I'm feeling very comfortable and very happy to be in the semi-finals.
Fellow Sydney sider Max Purcell is now a match away from his first ever ATP final after knocking out Italian veteran Andreas Seppi. We'll have lots more on a developing situations in sport, including, I think, several of the key jockeys for tomorrow's meeting may be sent back to Sydney.
Yes, I know, and it's a big race day for us here in Brisbane. Thank you, Paddy. We'll see you then. An international team of researchers, including scientists from QUT, have made an important discovery about COVID. It turns out an epidemic swept across East Asia 20,000 years ago. It may be ancient history, but as Georgia Terry explains, the finding could help battle the current pandemic.
Scientists from Queensland, South Australia and the US first started working on this research in March last year, just as the COVID pandemic was taking hold globally. The study discovered an ancient coronavirus had swept across East Asia between 20 and 25,000 years ago, and that the epidemic likely lasted hundreds of years, enough to have left traces on the DNA of people living today.
It left a very significant genetic scar, and it means that it was a multi-generational event.
Researchers at the Queensland University of Technology were able to test the theory developed at the University of Arizona, creating synthetic proteins in their labs, confirming significant similarities to COVID-19.
It uses the same or very similar set of genes to get into the cell and subvert it. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's most likely to be a duck.
The research could help inform the global response to COVID-19.
It means that it won't go away by itself, or it's likely not to go away by itself. Therefore, go get vaccinated.
We'll have more details on the implication of this study in the news at 6.
Are we in for a wet weekend? Birdie has the all-important forecast up next. And a giant Marilyn Monroe makes an appearance in Palm Springs. Plus, get ready to sing. The sequel to an animated smash hit is on its way.
Tonight on 7 News, more COVID cases here. Sydney's outbreak explodes. What now for the border and school holidays? Details finally released on where you have to check in with the COVID app from today. Reunited, the Killians finally get to see their sick father. And new holiday deals to fill cancellations. 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon, Dave Andrews in the Stays traffic chopper as we get into the weekend and the school holidays as well. Plenty of wet conditions for the next day or two. Here's your run on the Gateway heading northbound, which has been really heavy since about 2:30 this afternoon from Nudgee all the way up towards the Bruce Highway, and Gympie Road jam-packed from Kedron all the way through to the Bruce Highway. You don't have to go far from Brisbane to get away together. Book the home that makes the holiday with Stays. Your together awaits. Download the Stays app for your next holiday today. Have a great weekend. I'll check the roads again for you on Monday.
Sunday, July 4. Could you imagine yourself living here? Or here? Or here? How about with him?
Love, to me, it's everything.
Or him?
I do get a bit lonely sometimes. I'm ready to settle down.
Or him?
Oh, I'm a fourth-generation farmer. I do believe there's someone out there who wants the same things as me in life. I just got to find her.
These girls all have the same dream. To fall in love in one of the most magical places on earth. New Farmer Wants a Wife starts Sunday, July 4 on 7.
New Naturally Good Anti-Age with 99% naturally derived ingredients, plus 1% for stability and safety, with organic burdock extract. Visibly reduces wrinkles in 2 weeks. 100% transparency for 100% trust.
Check out the sticker, the Zespri sticker of sweetness.
Why are they so excited? Something about being surprisingly sweet?
Say it slowly. Get ready for sweetness. Now with passion. So much delicious sweetness, it's crazy, crazy tasty.
Zespri.
Our members know, beyond every cloud, there is always blue sky.
It's a bright blue sky.
Advanced Genifique with 7 pre and probiotic fractions activate your skin's strength. The microbiome. Skin recovers faster, is stronger and visibly younger. Our #1 serum. Shop online now at Lancôme.
New Chuck's antibacterial dual action wet wipes. The textured side tackles tough grease and grime. The smooth side whisks away everyday mess. And they kill 99.99% of bacteria and germs. Find in store with Chuck's.
Total Tools won't be beaten this end of financial year, and we've got a new end of financial year deal every day. Stanley 16-ounce claw hammer, only $9.90, was $32.95. Save 70%. Total Tools, low prices on every tool for every trade, guaranteed.
10 minutes either side.
Careful, Keith, it's on fire.
Not all the action happens at the stadium, eh, Keith? Luckily, when accidents happen, Amy can help cover it. Who helps cover the challenges of the everyday arena? Amy does.
I had pain down my legs and my heels. When I finally came across the arch supports at the Good Feet store, it's turned my life around.
See for yourself at the Good Feet store, now open at Westfield Chermside.
Would you know genius if you saw it?
You're not even trying, Issa.
I'll have to try harder.
For what hairstyle is guitar legend Jimi Hendrix best known? A. Buzz cut, B. Afro, C. Mohawk. The game that'll be won by a hair. New The Chase. Weekdays on 7.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
Good afternoon, Queensland. You are watching 7 News as we come to you live from the beautiful beaches of Surfers Paradise. Well, just to the north of here and up around the Sunshine Coast, you'll be experiencing some light drizzle at the moment, a little bit heavy at times, and that's just due to that trough passing over. That'll stay with us for most of the night into tomorrow. Let's take a look at the sat now. You can see exactly that trough system pushing through. Obviously, it did make itself known throughout New South Wales and Victoria over the past 18 hours now. That is slowly moving out into the Tasman. We're just getting that northwestern leading edge of it, so we're going to see that just dropping some showers to us this evening. Periods of rain early tomorrow into the afternoon, breaking in the west but still pushing onto the coast by later tomorrow. And of course into Sunday we'll see the sun returning. Make the most of it though. Showers set to come back later Monday to Tuesday through to Thursday. As we look around the nation now, we're going to see a partly cloudy day for Sydney, 9 to 18. Won't be heading back down there. 4 to 11 for Canberra, possible showers similar for Melbourne, and also Hobart 6 to 12. Back to the tropics now, partly cloudy for Cairns Cairns and Townsville, highs at 28 degrees. Shower 2 from Mackay, 16 to 24. Showers from that trough pushing through from Rockhampton all the way down to Gympie, 13 to 17 there. Clouds breaking in the day at Toowoomba, 10 to 13. Very cool day behind that trough. Across the southeast, expect a few showers throughout the day. Periods of rain, again breaking as it moves off the coast later in the afternoon. 17 degrees the high there. Kendall down to about 11 degrees overnight in the west. But again, Sunday, the pick day at this stage.
Good advice. Thank you, Bertie. We'll see you at 6. Well, also in tonight's news, Max, Queensland police have all but brought back the border wall with New South Wales.
Virtually, Kendall, yes, and more officers are patrolling our border and airports, turning around anyone from Sydney's hotspots. Border declaration passes will be mandatory from 1 a.m. on Monday, with strong warnings for Queenslanders not to travel south of the border.
And with millions of people now locked out of the state, there are last-minute holiday deals up for grabs.
There are, Kendall. Tourism operators are desperate for Queenslanders to explore their own backyard. From the Gold Coast to the Sunshine Coast, there's savings of up to 35% to be had on bookings, and we'll tell you where.
And a new suburb has been approved for the southeast.
That's right. There will be thousands of new opportunities for residents to buy into Redland Bay, with hopes 5,000 new lots of land will help housing affordability, plus hundreds of jobs on offer to build infrastructure in the area. So we'll have the details at 6.
See you then. Thank you, Max. A giant statue of Marilyn Monroe, inspired by a scene from the film The 7-Year Itch, has been erected in California's Palm Springs. The 8-metre-tall sculpture of the American actress in a billowing white dress has become a tourist attraction at the local art museum. It'll stay in position for 3 years before its location is reassessed. Let's see what's getting clicks online. We've got our first look at the sequel to the animated smash hit Sing 5 years after the first film.
I have dreamt of performing in Red Shore City since I was a little kid.
There's nothing holding me back. This is Red Shore City, not your little local theatre. He's freaking me out. Tippy toes. I don't see your tippy toes.
It features an all-star cast led by Matthew McConaughey and Reese Witherspoon. Michael Bublé's daughter is bucking the trend of other girls her age, declaring she doesn't like princesses. Instead...
What do you like?
I like
Marvel. You like Marvel?
Yeah.
Like the superheroes?
Yeah.
And Dad couldn't be more proud. You can stay up to date over the weekend. Connect direct at 7news.com.au or find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. That's our 4 p.m. news for another week. I'm Kendall Gilding. Thanks for your company. The Chase is coming up next. Then join Max and Sharon for 7 News at 6. Have a great weekend.
A beautiful